Today I will be playtesting the demo for A Week in the Life of Asocial Giraffe. This game is by Quail Button LLC, and the planned release date will be in 2025. So I am testing this game on my Steam Deck, and as you can see, there is a 53 minutes of playtime, so I'll have to apologize on this one in advance because I actually did play through it once already before. I prefer to go into a game like this with a completely fresh pair of eyes. And I did a recording previously, but what happened was my settings were not correct on my recording software, and unfortunately, I only ended up recording my own commentary and not also the audio from the game itself. So I made references to sounds that were happening in the game and things like that, but it doesn't really come across as well if I don't actually have the sounds for everyone to hear along with it. So my choices were basically put out the original recording without any audio from the game in order to preserve the fresh pair of eyes experience, like being a new player to the game has never experienced it before, or to do this re-recording and actually get it right with the audio this time. So I opted for the latter. So I hope you can forgive a little bit of already been here, seen this kind of feeling to this recording. That's not usually how I prefer to do these. So, but I would rather have the full experience for everyone to be able to enjoy here. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, and here we have the title screens loaded up. One of the first things I did was to try to see what was going on over here with this notebook, because I moved the mouse and I noticed it wiggled a little bit. It's an alternate way to start the game, basically, and also to get to the options. So if you click on it, you can go in here. This is the first objective of the game, to take the elevator. But you can also have this little tab here that shows up, and this shows the settings. You can wishlist the full game, uh, send feedback to the developers, and then adjust settings in the game itself here. So I really like the sound that it makes as I mouse the cursor, or move the cursor, mouse cursor over, whatever I'm trying to say. As you move the mouse cursor, it sounds like a pencil scratch, like someone's writing something in a notepad, or a diary, or whatever this is meant to be here. So I thought that was a really nice touch. You can go back, and we can just click off of this, and it actually goes back to the main menu here. And if you just go to options, it does the same thing. It still opens this up. So you can do it either way. So let's just go ahead and go to start. And then we can see it takes us to this first tab here to start the actual game. I'll go ahead and click take elevator because it's our first objective. And now here we are with our asocial giraffe here. And the first task is to take the elevator. So what I noticed right away too is up in the top here, you see this little leaf that pops out. I wouldn't really associate that with anything normally, but because this background is quite a contrast to that leaf, it helps it stand out really well. And I felt that was good for, getting attention of players. And so if you click on that, it's just a quick way to open up this notebook again, and you can get access to the settings and everything like that. So, but I'll go ahead, and you see now there's this back button that wasn't there before, as it takes you back to the gameplay itself. So you can look around, and if I press the mouse button, our little giraffe friend actually, you'll notice the gaze actually follows where I clicked here. Each one of these little times where you see the little ink ink blot, ink splat, whatever. That represents one of the times that I clicked the mouse. So I thought that was a really nice little touch because you can see he's just like, oh, what's over here? I'm supposed to look this way, and so you can interact with various things. So there's not much else to do here other than this big button, and if I put the mouse cursor over it, you can see it starts to shine, and that's a nice visual indicator. Like, hey, for players, like, look, you can actually do something with this, and I thought that was pretty good too, helpful to help it stand out from the rest of the environment here. So we'll go ahead and click that, see what happens. This is welcome to Friendly City. So that's the name of the area that this giraffe is inhabiting. And so we got the elevator music, and it just kind of hangs out here. And then you get this little indicator to try to show you, like, okay, you might want to click on this guy. So go ahead and go in there. And this is Jay. How's it going? How was your day? So he's just being super friendly, but the music is all intense, and then the screen keeps zooming in. And they have the whole garbled or randomized speech thing. It reminds me of like Animal Crossing from Nintendo, Animalese sort of speech. Now it's getting more intense. So Jay's just trying to be friendly here, but when you're an asocial giraffe, this will be intense. Got any restaurants you'd recommend? How about that weather, eh? So he's just being, casual, friendly, trying to, chat our friend up here. The poor giraffe is just... it just can't handle it. Okay, and then so it fans back. It showed it as like a thought bubble form, so I thought this was really well done because speaking from experience, I'm a person that's very introverted and I struggle with social anxiety too. And so I understand very well where this draft is coming from. This whole game's theme is very relatable. And so I thought, that was well done because what'll happen with anxiety a lot of times is pretty much that exact thing. Like, maybe he didn't even, in this case, he didn't he didn't actually take the elevator. It's just sort of an introduction to show us, like, okay, maybe this is not, this is a scenario that you don't want to find yourself in. So, but what happens is that, a lot of times you'll just try to predict or anticipate what someone's going to say, or, a lot of the anxiety and stress comes from your thoughts. And so, as a person with anxiety, you'll, for example, with this, you open the elevator and then there's a person there, and you would automatically start, thinking like, oh gosh, do I have to have a conversation with this person, or, what are they going to say? What am I going to say? What do I say if they ask me about this, and stuff like that. So, and just even though that character Jay was being really friendly about everything, it would still be very intense, and that I thought that was illustrated very well with not only the music becoming more intense as it wrapped up and the screen effects zooming in more and more, but also when the lines would show to make it more intense and everything. That I feel like that represented it very well, like how you would feel on the inside, like if you're growing anxiety and you're more stressed out, and then our poor graph just overloaded and he couldn't handle it anymore. He's okay, I'm just gonna explode now. But as far as the gameplay goes here, it's just a nice introduction to show you, well, you'll see here a little bit briefly in a moment, but let's see if we go ahead and try and interact with this button again. And so you press the button, and now this time there's no one here, and so this was actually like the correct route, whatever, for this introduction part. And now if we click inside, Giraffe is okay. And so what that's kind of representing is like, in reality, it wouldn't be that uncommon to say, oh, there's already someone on this elevator, so I'll wait for the next one because I have, intense anxiety or whatever. And I want to avoid those kinds of conversations, even if they're friendly and polite and really nice people. It's like it can still stress people out if they have bad social anxiety or things like that. So I thought this was a really good way to illustrate that, and it's clear that the creators of this game really understand the subject matter very well. So go ahead and open this. And unfortunately, you can't avoid it because here's a whole bunch of people. And that basically serves as the introduction, title screen, basics of how the game's going to work here. Alright, so go ahead and click the next button down here. And now we can see we're on tab number 1. We finished tab 0 here. Take elevator. So if you want, you can click back on here and replay it. So I'll just do that really quick, and then you can see there, and you can also just jump back on this leaf to pull up the menu again. And since it's already completed, you can just go on to the next task here. So the next thing is to get off the train. Alright, so here we have a situation. Now this is where the game starts to include a little bit of a puzzle element. So you have to do things trial and error. So we have a woman here that looks like she's searching for something. Probably her purse or her bag, whatever that's going on there. You've got a dog and you've got a bone. And when you mouse over these, I'm not pressing anything yet, but they're just kind of bouncing around and interacting and making some noises and stuff, just to show you that it's like, hey, this is something you can do something with. You can click it, you can, whatever, you can interact with this a little bit. Even the purse and bag has a sheen to it, just like the button on the elevator. It's the same kind of idea. And she gets those question marks that appear above her when you mouse over, so she's further expressing her confusion, whatever. So let's see, let's talk to the dog here, see what happens. Click the dog, and you get to pet the dog. And that's always a fun thing in games, of course. And then the dog runs up to his bone. It's like, yeah, okay, I got this bone. Now you can pick up the bone, and move it around. You can put it back and give it to the dog. I'm just going to go over here and do the wrong thing a little bit because this took some trial and error before I figured it out. That way you can see. So if I talk to her, Miss Pulaski, or Posalski, sorry. Oh, excuse me. Hello. Sorry. Could I just have one quick minute of your time? So you can see the pattern. The music kicks in again, and you're interacting with someone socially, so that's it. If you're an asocial giraffe, that becomes difficult, of course. That's a challenge. But we'll see here that she'll give you some clues. I would go around and look for myself, but the doors would close and I missed my stop. Okay. I try to get Poochums to help. He has to repeat fetching and retrieval lessons at puppy school. Actually, didn't see that line before. That's funny. He's a purebred rescue. His parents were rescues, and their parents were rescued. Wow. He's my darling little muffin, but he's obsessed with his chew toy. He'd only care about my purse if his chew toy were in it. So, you see how they have the large text there that's in bold? That's basically a hint. Like I'm about to explode out of stress. Yeah, you're not the only one. Our poor giraffe is going to explode out of stress too. So we've got two options here. We've got restart, which takes us back to the beginning of that area. And we also have a continue, which continue basically takes you back to the previous step that you just completed. So I'm going to go ahead and do restart in this case. And so, as I was saying before, the text that was in bold there, depending on what you've done, the game will give you little clues like that, usually through conversations with the characters. And in most cases, these characters, whenever you start conversing with them, it ends up being like you failed to do what you needed to do, because the whole goal of this is to make it so our asocial giraffe here can get through the day without having to converse with people. So there's always a way to do that. So you can see the clue. They said something about the only way that you would get the dog's interest is if the bone was inside the purse. Now I actually didn't see that particular tip the last time. So if you do other things, the tips that they give are a little bit different, and I'll just illustrate that here. I'll start by picking up the bone, and then I'll just walk over here and give it to the dog in this way. And now you'll see some different things. Now if I just try to take the purse, it won't do anything. It says no, he doesn't want to take it, so you can't just hand it to her even though you know that's what she needs to find. But now if I click on her again, we should see a slightly different message this time. Now you can see there's a skip button down on the bottom. If you see this, you can quickly pass it so that you don't have to see it every single time. Oh, okay. It looks like it is the same exact message this time. I saw some different ones last time, and it must be because I did something different. So I'm going to use the continue this time, just so you can see what it does. And so, since I chose continue instead of restart, the dog already has the bone over here and everything. So if I click the bone again, I can pick it back up. I think. Now I click the dog. It doesn't let me pick it back up. Okay. It was just the dog that lets me interact with. Alright, so I guess maybe the better approach would have been to just hit restart. Okay, now lets me pick it up. Oh, that's different. I could have sworn I did that before. Okay, well anyways, let me try putting it back here and see if it shows a different message. Nope, this time the dog's going to go straight over to it. Well, anyways, I'll go ahead and just complete this one because I know that we'll be able to see different messages in the next one for sure. So the actual correct thing that you can do, based on her tip, she said if the bone was in the purse. So you can actually click over here and put the bone right back there. And based on her tip, then you can see over here the dog is interested in the purse now. So when I first did this, the first time through the demo, I got two different messages, and none of them said about putting the purse directly in. They said about other things about how the dog would be, interested. It was a little bit different, the wording. It's like the only way that a dog would be interested in it would be, if it was behind it or something like that. Anyways, it said it a little bit differently, so... but anyway, so that's all we have to do for this one. And now we can see if I mouse over, I already did it briefly on accident, but if you mouse over the exit sign here, then it starts to wobble around and shine to let you know you can interact with that. So go ahead and exit out of this one. And that's all for this first one. So it gives you a nice little puzzle that, like, introduction to, like, okay, you're going to have to do things in a certain sequence in order to progress. A wonderful sight, joyful owner, praising pup, playing with his toy. So I was writing in the diary, like, what did I do today and what did I see, whatever. So this one, grab a can of matcha. So this one was a very involved one. I was very surprised when I went through here. So it seems like it's easy to start off with. So we've got this group of people here, and this woman is, attracting all these customers. So if we click right here, like join the crowd, you can see Katie. Says, hey there, sir, I see that you, like these other fine customers, are interested in our wonderful product. So here's another clue. It says, I'm glad you came to talk to me because I wouldn't have seen you walk by while I was busy with this crowd. So that's a hint that if you didn't talk to her and you had this crowd here, that you'd be able to walk by. Have any of you ever felt thirsty before? I think so. I know I have. It's all thanks to Friendly Mart's canned matcha. So she's a really, high energy salesperson, and she's really good at the sales pitch and all that. So. And so here's another tip. They want you to buy the canned matcha. So that's the goal. You're going to buy anything at Friendly Mart. And so now you know. One sip and it'll blow your mind. And yeah, it'll blow our poor giraffe's mind. So now since I did it like right from the start, it wouldn't matter which one of these I picked because I'm literally at the start of the thing. So I'm just going to do a restart here. So we learned not to talk to her and we could walk by. And so you see these signs up at the top pointing a direction. So we can go ahead and do that to walk by. And now we reach this other area. Now we see one of these cans of matcha right here. One of the first things I did, I thought, well, okay, let me just try and, click on it. Everyone loves whatever's in this case right here. And so now the crowd disperses. And so our giraffe is hiding behind the machine because they don't want to interact with people. If we can go this way, we see there's another sales girl here. And it was saying to buy the matcha, so we'll go back over here. Because now the crowd is gone, right? So we should be able to buy it. Now, at first I clicked on her, thinking I needed to buy it from her. Well, that's not the correct solution. And then I clicked over here and said checkout. Okay, so I'm going to checkout. See what happens when I do that. So she stops you. Hello, sir. It's wonderful to see someone with great taste. So she lives, eats, and breathes canned matcha. Matcha muchachos. That still makes me laugh, even the second time seeing it. So this is a clue here. It says you might even get a celebrity endorsement case for Friendly Mart's canned matcha. Now this clue actually really threw me off on what you actually need to do. Poor giraffe's like, I can't handle this. Alright, so I'm going to do restart again. Now you'll notice what happened. I hit checkout and it went to her. So when I was playing through this the first time, I actually commented about that because that really threw me off mentally. Because of that, I associated checkout with her, and that actually ends up being incorrect. But I felt that was pretty misleading because when you're the only customer there and you click checkout and she stops you and you walk over to her and she's the matcha can salesperson, you would just assume like, okay, I need to check out with you, but that's actually incorrect, and that was actually part of a problem that made it so I ended up a little bit more stuck on this stage than I would have liked. So that's one thing I pointed out originally that I thought could maybe use some clarification. maybe even just adding an arrow to that checkout sign, like checkout and then an arrow, a small arrow up top or something, just so you know, like checkout is not her necessarily. So that's some feedback that I gave after quite a while of going through this, trying to figure out what exactly to do. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to try to go past her. And we see the same issue as before. And this is Mina. She's much more relatable for me as far as trying to be a salesperson. There's no way I could do it, because I'm more like our asocial giraffe here. Like, oh, I see a customer. Okay, deep breaths. Don't screw this up. Hello, sir. I'm interested in hearing about these strawberry sodas. I mean, dang it, I already screwed up. So no, that's not a typo. It's just her being super nervous and struggling. The strawberry soda. Well, I need to offer it to people. Are you people? People is plural. You're one person. Well, because there aren't any other people here, I guess that means I should talk to you, right? So there's another clue. That if you want to walk by her, just like with the other saleswoman, you have to have customers distracting her. So. Anyway, the strawberry soda, it's good. Probably? Well, I don't know. I've never tried it. I don't know if anyone else has. Nobody seems interested in it. I wonder if that's because I'm doing a bad job. You're doing your best, Mina. The matcha is a lot more popular, especially since we put a can of it in that bestseller case. So that's another clue of where you can find one in the bestseller case. No wonder everyone wants to buy it. Everyone wants to buy what everyone wants to buy. Wait a second, I've completely gone off the script. I'm not selling the strawberry soda at all. Dang it, hold on. I need to start over. Hello, sir. I'm interested in hearing about... Poor Giraffe's like, okay, I just... Although, to be fair, I think Mina was about in that same state as the giraffe. So poor both of them. So we learned a few things from that clue. One was that everyone loves whatever's in this case. So we can see here there's a can of the strawberry soda up here. And we also have a little step ladder here that we can use. So if we try to click on that, it will be tall enough to pick it up. And then we can replace it here. And everyone now loves the strawberry. And so now we can, you can see the customers go over here. Now we've got a can of the matcha, and now we can walk past Mina here. If I click on her again, then it's going to error, be a incorrect solution, and we're going to start over. So I'm just going to walk over here to the side. Now we have another can over here in the sale section. So this is where I started getting really kind of stuck on that previous hint that Katie gave that was saying about a celebrity endorsement. It was pretty confusing. I wasn't sure what that meant. Like, I thought maybe there was someone in the crowd here that was maybe a celebrity and you had to have them endorse something, or I'm not sure. Anyways, it was a kind of a process and I wasn't really sure what to do. But we can see we have a second can here. And at first I thought this was simple. Like, I thought we just had to get the one can and then leave at the checkout, because then I thought, well, why is this one over here? And it seemed a little bit too, too simple. Like I was missing something, and it turns out I was. So now that we can walk by Mina here, we've learned here that, whatever's in this is where the crowd's going to go. So if we go ahead, and we can see, and I put the mouse cursor over that, it sparkles to show you, like, yeah, you can do something with these. So I'm going to actually put the one can that I have already right here. And it's on the lower shelf so our giraffe can reach it without needing the step stool. So if you grab the step stool. And now this all took me quite a while to figure out, a lot of trial and error in my first playthrough. And so this is a little bit faster than what I did originally. And you can see this little area at the bottom here. When you put your mouse cursor over it, it sort of wiggles and you get the change in the cursor to let you know you can do something with it. Anywhere you see one of those, you can place this down. So I could put it right back there. Or if I take it back over to this screen, you can see there's another one on the floor right here. So if I click that, now you've got the step stool to reach this taller shelf. And we can grab this other can off of it. This poor giraffe can see way up there. He's very tall, but he can't reach because those arms aren't very long. So, alright, so now that we've gotten this other can here, we can go back the other way. Actually, no, I'm missing a step here. Let's put it down on this bottom shelf. Okay. And we're going to need this back. So like I said, this all took me a little bit longer to do. Just a lot of trial and error. I was really surprised how many layers there were to this particular puzzle, especially after how simple the previous one was with just one little step to it. So, alright, and then let's go back over here. And we have to grab this from here and bring it past Mina. That's the main trick here. Okay. So that we don't have to go past her to get it. And then the next thing we want to do is grab this and switch the matcha back there. That way everybody's suddenly interested in the matcha again. Now, because this is back here, we can go ahead and put this up on the top. And then we can grab this matcha. And this matcha. Oh, doesn't let us? Okay, I guess we leave that one there. That's right, we do have to leave that one there because then the crowd's here. Otherwise, if we didn't do that, if we just had the one, then the crowd would be over here or the crowd would be dispersed, one of the two, depending on if there was no can in here or if there was the strawberry can in here, they would all be over by Mina. So we do actually need to leave one can in there so that the crowd's over here. That way, Katie doesn't stop us again when we try to do the checkout. So this is actually the solution to the puzzle, but like I said, I ran into a lot of trouble with trying to figure out why I wasn't going to her to buy the matcha because the checkout thing is right there. And it doesn't have the arrow, so I think just a simple inclusion of that would have helped a lot to, just for me mentally, to not associate checking out with this booth here. So since there's people here, because we had that can there, we go ahead and click checkout, and you can safely walk by. It says, the tea was not drunk, I forgot to buy a straw, too shy to go back. Oh, poor giraffe, after all that trouble. So, but overall, I really liked the interactions in that, especially Mina. I thought she was pretty great. And so, but Katie was good too. She was like, they were total opposites. One was, totally not suited to the salesperson role, but she was, pretty much forced to do it anyway. And so she was trying her best, but it was clear. It's like, this is not for you, to be the salesperson. But, and I've been in that very situation, so that's very relatable for me personally. But Katie was like the natural. She's like, yeah, okay, I'll give you the spiel and I'll tell you everything that there is to know about the matcha and all that. So that was the one thing that I did comment on about that was I got really thrown off by both the celebrity endorsement comment because that was clearly a clue that they gave. And it seemed like you had to get some kind of celebrity endorsement, but that wasn't really related to that at all. The word, the celebrity endorsement wasn't really a part of any of that. There wasn't a celebrity, So that threw me off. And then also, like I said, issue with the checkout part because Katie stops you when you press the checkout thing. And I understand why from a design standpoint because you've failed the objective, so something has to happen to not let you check out and leave. But in my mind, I associated checking out with her booth, and that was not the case. So, all right, so the last one, take a formal picture here. Let's go ahead and do that. Now this one I actually did surprisingly on my first try. I did it like I think I only messed this one up one time, and it was a lot simpler than the grocery store one to check out to get the can of matcha. So I was kind of surprised by that because it was like, you know, the first one with the dog on the train and everything. That one was super simple, and then the grocery store one had a lot of layers to it. But this one, I think, was somewhere in the middle. It felt like so. So we can go around here. We see this ID photo. Doors kind of wiggling around here, trying to show us we can do this. There's this gentleman who seems to be frustrated with their copier. It's not working. And a bunch of things over here, but none of it's interactable. Welcome to Copy Center. It says ring for help. There's a little sign there. And it's talking about this bell. I already moused over it a little bit. And there's nothing else we can do much with. But there's also this. And this wiggles when we mouse over it. The first thing I did was this. And I'm going to go ahead and do that again. We can see the giraffe hides behind it. And I was like, okay, what do we do now? He's just kind of hanging out behind this thing. So I thought maybe I'll just ring the bell, because I know if I talk to somebody, that's not going to work out. That's what I've learned from the rest of these, adventures here. So if you just ring the bell, and he goes back to hiding behind this thing. And here we meet David. Says, hello, my fine giraffe. Are you in need of assistance? Of course you are. That's why you ring the bell. And so we can see this familiar pattern now of you failed, and here's why. It's shocking to me that the person by the copier didn't ring the bell. He's been here a long time. A long time. You wouldn't believe me if I told you how long. It's honestly making me feel too awkward to come in here, even though I need to finish putting together this postcard display, okay? I was even thinking of hiding behind the display. I'm short enough to fit without the top portion, so we're already hiding behind the display, but the top portion part is sort of a clue of what to do. It's just odd that he hasn't rang the bell. So odd that I feel it would be impolite to just offer him help. So I'll wait for him to decide to ask for it before I help him. That's the only polite thing to do. So you're not going to solve the situation at all. What can this copier and cameraman do for you? So the poor giraffe's like, oh gosh, I can't handle this. Too much friendly interaction. Alright, so I'm going to hit restart, because we weren't that far into it. So remarkably, I'm sure there's other ways you could fail this, like talking to this guy and not doing things in the right order, but the next thing I tried was going into the ID photo room here. And we can see here he is, because he said he's a cameraman, so he's the guy that takes the pictures. And we can go back to the front desk. We can interact with this chair right here that wiggles around. Obviously talking to him would not be so good. But then there's this for formal photos. This little blazer here. And then it says requirements. So it's like check. And it wants you to have this. Basically, it's showing you need to put this on for your formal photo. So, but then I noticed this big thing right here, like friendly city. And I thought, well, let's click on this. What even is this? And so the giraffe takes it with them. And if you go back to the front desk here with it, I quickly realized that must be the top portion of this. So I clicked on this. And sure enough, it fits in that little hole right there. And now you can see the giraffe hides behind it because he's tall enough. So now if I ring the bell, taking the clues from what he had said about he could hide behind it because he's short enough. Now he comes out to help the customer because he thinks that it was this customer that rang the bell since our giraffe is hiding. And now I just sat there for a minute like, okay, do I need to do anything else here? I wasn't sure if it was going to fail or not. But I waited, and these two are just conversing now. So now if you go back in their photo room, you can quickly do all of this. And so you can't be, you can see the rest of this poster here now for requirements. It says, no, you can't be in your plain clothes. And he just so happens to be wearing the same kind of hoodie jacket that our giraffe here is. Like, no, you can't wear that. You have to wear this. So you got to go over to this, talk to it, interact with it rather. And then he goes to put it on, and it's like, I can't reach. Okay, so that's kind of your clue. And then if you look closely on the ground, you can see here those little squares again, so that kind of tips you off, just like we learned in the last area. And so you can grab the chair and pick that up, and then you can place it down over here in this other square. Now our giraffe is tall enough to reach this. And he just puts it on like that, which I thought was pretty hilarious. And now if we click off of there to go over to the camera, it doesn't come out right. Actually, I didn't do that, I don't think, when I did this originally, so he's like, no, that doesn't work. I actually carried the chair back right away, which is what you're supposed to do. But that's pretty funny that it has an out-of-frame one. And then once that's done, I see then he puts the camera up on the chair. And now it's tall enough. He's still a little bit freaked out about it, though. Faded card replaced. A new ID, a new me. Life clicks into place. So he just did his own ID photo. I don't recommend trying to do that in real life. That's pretty illegal, but for the purposes of giraffe here in Friendly City, it works. Doorbell ring. Oh gosh, all the alarms are going off. It's someone at the door. Run away. It's terrifying. So we have one final little surprise task here. Answer the door. And yes, sometimes even the doorbell ring can cause anxiety for people. I know, because I've been that way myself. So first we have to disable this intense alarm system here. We can see there's a panel on the door here, and it shines. You interact with it. And so, alright, now we've got the vault. The vault is unlocked to his leisure area here. I don't think there was anything else to really interact with in here that I noticed. But he's got a nice little record player and some plants, and it's just his safe space, and he's got an entire bank vault that shows up on his door. And flashing alarm lights and everything. Oh, it's just funny. I understand the, like, oh gosh, panic mode when someone's at the door. But let's go check who it is. We have a whole surveillance system. Yeah, it looks like a mail delivery person. It's here with the mail. And there's a switchboard with all these different lines running to it. I thought you could click on them, but there's nothing to interact with on the switchboard. It's just these two buttons here, the button and the little controller stick there, joystick, whatever it is. So let's go ahead and interact with those. And then, and then he's got a puppet, basically, made out of a big long loaf of bread and a oven mitt and a button and some utensils. So he's like, instead of answering the door, he's got a substitute here that'll do it for him. And so the friendly mail guy is being super friendly and saying, here's your mail, let me chat with you. But if you just click this, then... Oh, hey there, a giraffe. Oh, wow, I didn't have that happen. So I didn't see this. Maybe because I took too long? Or is it a.giraffe? Because that's what this letter is addressed to. I had a funny thought that I was telling your friend. Does the A stand for another? As in another giraffe? Oh, they were cracking up about that too. So I hope you don't mind me asking. I'm so curious, and since I have the opportunity to ask you, what's it like having a roommate? Is it as cool as I imagine it is? That's funny. You sometimes get on each other's nerves and push each other's buttons? Or is it nice? Like, they get your letters for you, and you do nice things for them in return? Like, read your letters to them? People's lives are just like letters to me. So I actually didn't fail this one, so that's kind of interesting. I didn't even know you could. I'm gonna hit continue. So I'm pretty sure I could have sworn I clicked on the giraffe here last time to have him grab it. Let me try that again actually. So no, that wasn't it. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit skip to just go right through it. I thought I had done that last time, but I guess you have to press the button instead. Because it's kind of wiggling to try to tell you. So he presses the button. Okay, yeah, and then he grabs it for you. Ah, it's interesting. I could have sworn I clicked on the actual giraffe. I guess I must have clicked it at this part to actually take the letter away from him. So yeah, you want to click over here to control him. That's funny. I didn't even know you could fail this one. I guess you can. Well, that was something you wouldn't have seen in the other recording. So there you go. So now you go over here and click on our other giraffe friend. And he just kind of squishes it back in the box. So, and that wraps up the demo. So, I hope you were able to still enjoy this, even though it was a second playthrough and I already knew what was coming. I much prefer to be able to do these in a more, fresh pair of eyes. Like it's my first time playing the game and I have nothing, no clue about it. That way you get some more genuine user experience, first reaction kind of approach too. So you can just go ahead and click on these if you want to wishlist it. You can give the developer feedback or jump back to the main menu here. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And as we can see, this game does in fact work just fine on a Steam Deck, as you've plainly seen for yourself here. So definitely check it out if you're interested. And if you would like for me to playtest your game in a similar fashion to this, you can find a link in the description to my commission services page. And so you can go ahead and interact with that, or I can, for sure recommend you to check out the game further, wishlist it on Steam, follow along with it if you're enjoying it as much as I am, and look forward to when it releases, hopefully later this year. So, alright, thanks for watching.